Hi, my name is Bruce Wallace. I am a session musician, producer, stroke engineer. I have a recording facility called Beat in Time Studios, which is where I do a lot of my production work from. I also do session drumming here as a drummer. And that is basically the name of my company, Beat in Time Studios, and the other part, I guess, would be my name, Bruce Wallace, that I try to put out there and market. What I basically do is, as I mentioned earlier, my business is basically split into two parts. I have myself as an individual, my own brand, which is my name. The whole angle there is to try and get your name out there into the industry and market yourself as best as you can, become your own brand. And the other half is the actual studio, Beat in Time Studios. What we do here at Beat in Time Studios is a lot of production work, where I'm involved in tracking, working with artists, producing, sessioning sometimes as a professional drummer in my own facility. I get hired as a drummer to record in my own facility, where I sometimes hire a different engineer then to track myself. So it's a lot of drumming, a lot of production work, arranging, mixing, engineering here at Beat in Time Studios. And then I also, outside the studio, I am required to freelance with artists in South Africa, whether it's touring on the road with them, playing corporate functions and gigs, and also then being hired as a session drummer by other producers and other engineers in their own studios, which happens also on a regular basis, where I'm required to leave my facility, sometimes even take some of my gear from my facility, and I go to other studios and I record there as well. Then I'm going as an individual, I'm going as Bruce Wallace, being hired by somebody else. Okay, what makes me different from, say, other competing studios or individuals out there, I would say is, first of all, I was one of the first drummers in South Africa to set up a recording facility that was aimed mostly at recording drums. So that was a bit of a novelty in the industry, where instead of producers and engineers having to come to hire me to go and record at another facility, they were able to come straight here and record. So it was a turnkey solution, which helped a lot of producers and record labels, maybe on a tighter budget, and also individuals who were up and coming that didn't yet have big budgets to work with. So it was a turnkey solution from them. So that set me apart initially at the beginning. My name got around through that. I think the other half of it is, as a drummer, I early on invested in good sound, good equipment. I got a reputation for having a good sound, great sounding drum kit, being able to tune it well, and then develop the skills necessary to set yourselves apart from other drummers in sense of having, great time, good feel, being versatile in many areas. You do what you can to become as good as you can, and to try and set yourself apart and be the preferred drummer to be used in production. So that would be the other side of it as well. As far as being successful in production is concerned, I think the key there is simply to just do everything as well as you possibly can, as timelessly as you can. In other words, fitting into people's time budgets, where they're not, things don't get dragged behind time-wise, or financially there's unforeseen expenses they weren't expecting, to try and meet everybody's expectations and be professional as possible. Be a consistent professional in that regard. And I think what happens is, once you again get a reputation of being able to deliver good goods in the right amount of time, within the budget, and you're as good as your last production, so you keep your name up there by consistently delivering good work, is key to being successful, and also then getting the next call. And I would have to say as well, being able to work with people, relationship-wise, being nice to work with, easy to work with, being passionate about what you do, I think is very important. I think people want to see that you are passionate about what you do, that it isn't just some kind of a day job or something that you get up in the morning and, oh, here I go. it's something that you truly live and believe in. It is you, and you are giving yourself essentially to the people you're working with wholeheartedly, and I think they appreciate that as well. Well, I started my business as just with the dream of becoming, first of all, a professional drummer. I've had that dream since I was about 8 years old. So after I'd studied, you obviously go and invest in the best equipment that you possibly can. I got the opportunity to get a really nice, I think it was a 21st birthday present from my parents. What do you want? Whether it's, some people want a car, great sound system, whatever. For me, it was just like, I just want a professional quality drum kit that I can record with. So I invested in that first. I would say that would be the first thing. I didn't have a lot of money back then. I was still studying, just out of high school. And then shortly after that, you start investing, in more equipment. And so initially it was just getting as much good gear to make you sound as good as you possibly can. When I started getting into production, when I realized that I had a serious passion for creating music. It wasn't just about drumming, it's about actually creating music, whether that was in a studio environment, playing with a band, doing a bit of arranging, recording, mixing. I started investing obviously in computer equipment, a software program, a good microphone. And so I started really small, and I just started in the bedroom of my house, recording and doing everything I possibly could to create what I thought was a good sound, which of course it wasn't back then. But you have to take those steps to lead somewhere. So initially, that's how I invested, and everything kind of grows from there as you start to get money in. If you start to make money through your gigs and through your playing, sessioning, people using your facility, I tried to invest a proportion of the money that came in into building the studio. So you would take what you need, like any other business, you would draw hypothetically a salary, but then you'd also reinvest back into the studio or into yourself to continually increase your capabilities from a technical point of view, equipment point of view. I would have to say as well, apart from the financial investment, there's of course a great deal of time investment. And if you want to become truly good at your art form, you never stop learning. You have to consistently adapt, learn from other people, study, get on the net, check out the techniques, try them, spend time over and above just your work to try and develop your capabilities even further. So there's a great investment of time needed as well, not just of money. Okay, well, I've been in existence since the day I was born, but my company has only been in existence, or my business has only really been in existence, I would say, from about the early 2000s, so about 14 years ago. That's when I first started getting into the industry, and I guess that was the start of my business, if you will. Even if it was just my name at that stage that I was trying to get out there, that's when I started. So it's about 14 years. Later on, when I started getting into production and studio, building my studio, that sort of started around about 10 years ago, but the first sort of commercially viable facility that I could do professional grade recording started about 7 years ago. I don't think anything as major has happened that has threatened the existence of my company or my business, largely because I am my business. I think the only person, and when you are working for yourself, the only person that can truly threaten your business would be yourself through being destructive in some form or another, or doing something that you shouldn't be doing, that basically leads you to a path of destruction in yourself. So when you're working for yourself, you only really have yourself to blame, I guess, if anything goes wrong. Having said that, there is always competition. There are always people trying to be better than you, or at least tell everybody that they are better or do a better job than you. So you have to consistently be aware of that and make sure that you are at the top of your game, doing the best you can in every area. And for me, you just strive for excellence in everything you do. But in the same sentence, no, I can't think of any specific major catastrophic event that took place that truly threatened my position in the music industry. Personal achievements, there have been so many that I've lost count. I almost treat every single project, every single session, and every single gig I do as a personal achievement, because every single one is unique. Everyone presents a new opportunity to do something great and to be as great as you can be. There are projects and events that I have been involved in that are bigger than others. So if you were to look at it from a scale or profile point of view, I guess you could pick out a few that are bigger. But I can remember being booked for the Koleski's Faith and Love album when I was trying to get into the industry. It was my first time of being booked for what was considered to be major artists with major funding at a major recording studio. It was a huge defining moment in my career. Having played on one of my earliest sessions, playing on Nia Nell's album Who Painted the Moon, that went multi-platinum around the world, that song that she did is a moment that I'll never forget. Thinking back on that as one of the greatest songs for me personally that I've been involved in. And also working on a movie like Pretful, you can see behind me on the poster here, getting the opportunity to do the drum tracking for the movie, which comprised of nearly 30 songs that we had to do, to being asked to take over almost the entire musical production, right through to post-production, the recording of every single musical sound on the album, right through to final mix, where we actually were mixing here for cinema in 5.1 and to Dolby Digital and stereo for the CD, doing radio versions, doing YouTube and internet versions and different frame rates. Everything just led from one thing to the other, became a long 1.5 year project. So in terms of a scale or a size, that was probably one of the bigger events. But I still maintain that every bit of work you do really is an opportunity to excel. So I value every single one of them as being great moments. My future plans are very simple. It's just to continue to grow and expand as much as I possibly can. That may be on a physical level. It may be in terms of building a bigger facility one day, being able to cater for more variety of production work. I would like to venture into projects with more people as much as I can, expand my musical horizons, to continue to play in session and work with as many artists as I can, hopefully new ones, up-and-coming ones, people who I feel are changing and shaping the industry, younger up-and-coming talent. To me, it's always going to be the same thing, and that is just trying to expand on what you've already started and continue to be a key individual in the music industry. I think that's what it's all about. It's tough enough trying to get somewhere in the music industry, but to stay there can be even tougher, and to remain relevant and have something to say and be someone who is still recognized as being the person who you can go to and get great results, I think is a real challenge. And and for me, it would be just to maintain that to the best of my ability. Okay, well, the mentality of an entrepreneur, I guess, is someone who is willing to take a risk based on something that they truly believe in or want to see transpire. So it takes a great deal of passion and determination. And I also think it takes a great deal of a realization of knowing that it's not going to be easy. And if you want something to become successful, you're going to have to work incredibly hard at it. And you're going to have follow-through and perseverance and tenacity to actually see it get somewhere. It's not something that happens quickly. Sometimes it does. Sometimes people are incredibly lucky to just land in a situation where things just happen fairly quickly. But for the majority of people, it's a long road. And usually the people who are successful are the people who, first of all, in reality, know that they have the capability. They're realistic about their abilities and their weaknesses. And they're able to focus on their abilities and persevere and really make an effort to become successful, be extremely passionate about what they are good at, and just keep chipping away at the system until they break through and get the opportunity. And there will be some kind of defining opportunity that does break through, that kind of almost like puts you there and makes other people realize, have you heard of this person or this thing or that studio? There will be some defining moment that will take place, and usually that's what you've got to strive for. So the mentality, it is a tough industry to be in. There's no doubt about that. I don't think anybody who has the attitude, I would call it the rock star attitude, who thinks they're going to just pick up an instrument, learn to play as best they can, and think that the rest is just going to be a bed of roses and it's all going to be smooth sailing from then on, is in for a bit of a wake-up call. It just doesn't work that way. It takes a great deal of effort, passion, perseverance, networking, doing good in every opportunity, preserving your name, your reputation. So that's what I'd have to say about that from a mentality point of view. The best advice I can give anybody in the music industry is, first of all, make sure beyond the shadow of a doubt that you actually do want to be in the music industry. And the reason why I say that is you need a realistic perspective on it, in the sense that, first of all, you know that you have what it takes to become successful in the music industry. From a personality point of view, skill point of view, the ability to work with people. I think once you've established that and you're willing to then go for it with all your heart, is probably the only advice I can give someone, is to really truly believe in yourself. But to believe in yourself from a realistic point of view. I think there needs to be a bit of a reality check there as well. You know, there are people who unfortunately do have delusions of grandeur. You know, they just really think that they are it and they're going to make it, and they sometimes don't have what it takes. I have seen that in the industry a lot, and they can spend half a lifetime just really getting nowhere. And you know, maybe they're not even supposed to be doing this. Maybe they could have been truly great at something else. But definitely be passionate about what you do, believe in what you do, believe in yourself, and really persevere and give it everything you've got. And hopefully, if you are truly good and you are meant to be successful, at some point you will be.